As I'm sure many of you know, Bill Maher is a big defender of Israel, and on a recent podcast, he had to do so again. He sort of had a conversation, and it started to get a little heated. Check it out.
First time I ever went, I would not go to Israel. I was convinced if I stepped terra firma on Israel, I stepped off the plane onto the tarmac, a war would break out.
Why?
I don't know why. It's a tick.
That's more than a tick.
Yeah.
That's psychotic.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
What? I mean, why you stepping off the plane?
No, not me.
Just bad timing.
Bad timing.
Well,
I wouldn't cause the war.
Oh, I see.
I would just be in the middle of
I thought they were like, the funds.
Hey,
it's on.
Henry's here.
Allahu Akbar, the funds.
Really?
This is the last straw.
Oh, my God.
The funds is in Israel. Now we have to get them into the sea.
Yeah.
Oh.
What about their prime minister? Are we allowed to talk about that?
Of course. You can talk about anything. That's what I love about this.
I really think that he knows if, God forbid, he steps down or the war is over, he's in jail.
I mean, that's possible, and we hear that a lot. I mean, it's interesting.
I believe it to my core.
Yeah, well, you don't know what's, I mean, that could be the case. You don't know what's in a person's heart. Whether that's true or not, you can still be supportive of the decisions he's making, which I am.
Okay.
It's very naive, I think, that this could go any other way.
Right.
And any other country in the world would not be expected to act any differently. If you get attacked, you get to fight back. And the war doesn't end when you start fighting back, which they always want with Israel. You know, when somebody...
You know what? A lot of what you're saying is true. However, I think that, you know, there are parents, there are families that are hurting because the hostages are not.
Yes, and it's the job of a statesman and a leader and a prime minister to think long term and not just short term. Like, if they don't eliminate Hamas,
they're not going to eliminate Hamas. Hamas is an idea, not a group of people.
That's a bullshit thing.
It's not bullshit.
Well, let me tell you something. They've said that for years. I just read, I think, Sam Harris on this, and he said it right.
I know Sam.
Okay, great.
I like
love Sam. Great. I'm glad we both do. Yeah. And he said this thing we've heard a lot of times. You can't kill an idea. He said, well, we did after World War II.
Until now.
We did kill a lot of Japanese, and that was unfortunate.
Right.
But, I mean, if you do kill enough lunatics, and Japan was led by lunatics,
right.
You know, died of the last person and a lot of suicide bombing and all that. Very similar to what we see with radical Muslims.
Right.
Suicide bombing, cult of martyrdom.
Right.
Okay, so Japan became our good friend. So let's not pretend that you can't actually get to the root of this. It is difficult.
I'm not pretending.
No.
I truly believe that in this particular case, you don't think that all those people that are now homeless and their families are destroyed, you don't think that they are now
I think you have to make calculation.
Again?
Of course, absolutely. That is going to happen. You are also recruiting.
So you want to kill every human being?
No. Is that what?
I actually completely disagree that those people are becoming Hamas. People don't get radicalized when their total, you know, reality is destroyed. You know, when they're completely decimated, they don't get radicalized. They get radicalized when they're winning. The Arab world, this is the difference between the Western world and the Arab world. The Western world believes that people get radicalized when they get destroyed. I disagree. I think people get radicalized when they're appeased. When you tell these Nazis or these Hamasniks or these, you know, anti-Israel lunatics that they can win by giving them land every time they attack Jews, they're like, oh, this is great. We're winning. We keep on winning. Why do you think on October 7th, there was so much support for Hamas? Because they had done a great sort of, you know, accomplishment. They had killed so many Jews. In Gaza, that's considered a heroic act. Obviously, it's completely barbaric. My point is, the Arab world surfs with those that win. When the Jews are winning and Israel is winning, the Arab world makes fun of these Hamasniks. When Hamas is winning, they champion Hamas's cause. So the best way to de-radicalize the population is to win, and to win big.
What I said?
No, but I think it is what you were leading to.
No, it is certainly not what I'm leading to. What I'm saying
If
is,
we kill enough of them, we're going to end Hamas.
I didn't say that either.
I think you did.
No, I didn't. You
Okay.
said it.
You want to play it back?
Yeah, I
I
didn't.
didn't say that.
I didn't say
I
that.
did not say if you kill enough of them, where the Hamas is
No,
over.
what I said was the idea that you can't kill an idea.
Oh, that's what I said.
Yeah, that's what I was objecting to.
Right.
And I was quoting Sam talking
Right.
about the fact that
You
after
know, World War II,
II,
we did not kill Nazism.
yeah, we did.
Except for like a moment.
But-
It's
Ger-
back almost in every country.
back in a tiny fringe.
Oh.
I mean, if you expect perfection, I
I don't expect it perfection.
Well, then it's a silly argument.
I believe. Well, that's not true.
Well,
but
it
I
is.
believe that we are going to experience another Kristallnacht, and could very well experience it here.
Well, there's a lot of anti-Semitism,
Ooh.
and that comes from people like Hamas.
Yeah, I see.
The difference is that state supported versus not state supported. So, like he's right. There could be another Kristallnacht. There was a pogrom in Amsterdam. The difference is that it wasn't supported by the leaders of the government. That there is no Western civilization state where it's allowed and it's normal to murder and kill Jews. It's just not, or attack them, or do anything really against them. It's not state sanctioned. It's people on the fringe, or maybe even people more on the mainstream. But again, it's not supported by the government.
So, I mean, again, when you're a leader, you have to think long term.
Right.
If you don't know, they've prosecuted this war for 11 months, as we're recording this in September
Right.
of 2024. So they're at the final stage. They're in the South. Yes, there are probably still, I don't know, 80, 90 hostages left.
Right. 100.
It's horrible to think
Right.
of the situation they've been in, and if we can't get them
in
out.
other words,
Again, if I could just finish.
Yes, go right ahead.
You have to think in terms of long-term and numbers. Like those 100 people, we wouldn't want anyone to die, but what if we let Hamas off the hook and then it gets worse and 10,000 die? That's how
10,000.
Well, in the future. In other words, if they are able to stage more attacks.
I see. 10,000 more Israelis.
You've gone this far for 11 months.
Mm-hmm.
And my question to people who have this argument is always, do you know what's going on really underneath Gaza in all the tunnels and how close they are?
I do not know.
I don't either. But you know who does know? The Israeli Defense Force. Now, are they perfect? Absolutely not. But again, they're not the ones purposely killing civilians. They try not to kill civilians. If you can't understand that difference morally, then you're very morally confused.
Are you watching the same footage I'm watching?
You think they are trying to kill civilians?
I think that it is indiscriminate.
That's what war is.
Okay.
War becomes that. There is no war you can name that didn't. Sherman burned Atlanta to the ground, and it wasn't just the military people he was killing. It's a
So I actually disagree with Bill Maher. Israel's war statistics, if you look at the civilian to combatant ratio, is about two civilians for every combatant. So that means there's 2 civilians that die for every 1 Hamas terrorist that dies. That's approximately, or 1.5 to 1. Now, versus the average war statistic is 9 to 1, 9 civilians per 1 combatant. So just think about that. In urban areas, generally, it's way, way more civilians that die. And in this war, it happens to be that it's a very, very close call between civilians and combatants. So the idea that war just dissolves into chaos always is not true. At the same time, what he's saying is that when you're in the trenches, things happen and you're not going to get it perfect. It doesn't mean that the idea that you had the intention of not killing civilians is worthless. It is worth everything when you say, I'm not trying to kill civilians, but as collateral damage, as I was trying to get the terrorist, this happened. It's like a policeman going and there's a guy that is holding a civilian hostage, and he shoots at the terrorist, and it ends up hitting the civilian. That policeman is not a condemnable individual. In fact, he is should be considered a hero, someone that tried his best to rescue the hostage, but in the end, resulted in a terrible death. So again, the idea that civilian casualties in war where there's collateral damage is the same as civilian casualties where there's just a specific targeted attack. You can't conflate those two.
Shame, but again, there's a very simple solution to this. Stop attacking Israel.
Right.
Jews used to know this.
Right. Okay.
Still love you.
I love you.
Okay.
I have no judgment about your point of view.
Great. And I not of yours.
I disagree a little bit with what you're saying.
Yeah, that's okay.
I don't think that the head of Israel at this moment is a soulful human being.
That may be true too. I didn't say he wasn't, and I didn't say even that he might not be doing what you suggested he might be doing. What I was saying is, even if those things are true, it could also be true that this is the correct policy, which I believe it is. I think you've gone 11 months to do this. Let's finish it while we're there.
Okay, how does it finish? Tell me that.
How does it finish?
Yes.
Is there a...
What do you see?
Is that you have extirpated enough of Hamas that some other entity can be brought in to rule that country.
Right.
Because that was always a coiled snake.
Right.
Right at the foot of Israel.
Right.
You can't live like that.
Right.
Okay? There's only one side in this who wants a two-state solution. That would be at least part of Israel. Maybe not everybody in Israel, but that they've certainly...
No, that's most of Israel doesn't want a two-state solution. See, this is where it gets derailed. Why do we have to give a two-state solution to a radicalized population that wants us finished, wiped off the face of the earth? Shouldn't even be talking about a two-state solution until there's a massive de-radicalization of the Gazan Palestinian population. Until that happens, the idea of a two-state solution is insane. One more note on this. They took a poll. Most of Gazans supported October 7th. I think it was around 73% when it happened. Now, it's under 50%. I think it's around 45%. So they're learning their lesson, and they're understanding that fighting with Israel is not the way to go. May we continue to have strength and continue to teach them that fighting us is not the way to prosperity. For more, subscribe to this channel. If you want to help us make more of these videos, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/JewishUncensored.